1 hour of power. Meet your host, Stephanie Wall, and your co-host, Hope Jackson. Here at HerStory, Our Story, 1 hour of power, we change lives. We also change hearts and relationships. And you can't change all of that without changing your business and your careers. Come on in. Let's go. Join us at HerStory, Our Story, 1 hour of power. Welcome to 1 hour of power. Well, you know what? I guess I better come on the screen, huh? Yo, where am I? All right, there I am. Look, this is live. As Dr. Sherwood like to say, this is live. Everything happens when it's live. So this is Speaker Stephanie, the CEO of Speaker Stephanie LLC, the founder of HerStory, Our Story, 1 hour of power, and 1 million lives transformed, where we transform lives, relationships, and finances. Woo! I am super excited. Look, y'all know I got so much to tell you. Y'all know I was at the Hey Girl, Hey Pop-Up Conference where I told you I met some amazing women. Well, one of those women is gonna be Monique Smith. You know what? I'm ready to kick on over. I'm gonna kick it on over to my co-host, Hope Jackson, who's gonna she's gonna tell you who she is, what she does, and who she serves. She's going to also tell you about our fabulous guest. She's going to give it to the icebreaker. You know, I just can't wait to see what it's going to be. She's going to tell you, find out for her 6-word story. Y'all, my fabulous host, Hope Jackson, it's to you, sister. Look, over to you. That's my band of black. Over to you, Hope.
Well, good evening, everyone, and hello, Stephanie, and welcome, Monique, to Her Story, Our Story. First, I want to just make sure that we are obedient and that we give honor to God first. So I'm going to open in prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this evening. Thank you for allowing us to come together tonight, Lord Father God, just to have a wonderful discussion, Lord Father God. We are about transforming lives. Stephanie is known as the transformational architect. So Lord Father God, we just allow that we hear some information that will shift and transform people's mindsets so that they can walk in purpose that God has for them. We thank you for our guest tonight, Miss Monique Smith, and what she's going to bring to the table. Lord, we are grateful and thankful for all the things that you are doing in our lives and in this season. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So I am Hope Jackson. I am the co-host here of Her Story, Our Story, which I am so excited to be side by side with Miss Stephanie Wall. So again, Monique, we just thank you for joining us tonight. I am also the owner and founder of Always Hope. And Always Hope is about helping people to discover what is hidden inside of them. The Greek definition of hope is seeing things that you don't believe, and that's what Always Hope is. And just helping you to understand that no matter what you go through in life, there's always hope. So I want to just kind of get into the night just to have a little fun. So I have a couple little icebreaker questions for you tonight. So if you could only listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Anything by Al Jarreau.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Al Jarreau, he has a very distinct voice. So anytime he's singing something, you definitely know it's him. All right. So my next question is, and it's not really an icebreaker, but it's kind of just a little ice of figuring out, what 3 things would you like to accomplish in 2022?
Does it have any area?
It can be whatever you want it to be.
All right. Well, I like to have consistent, predictable revenue. have reliable transportation, and have full-time, I'm an adjunct now at Hampton University. I would like to have full-time professorship at a university. Stephanie, you're muted.
Somebody is looking right now, and but by the time I'm gonna go ahead and claim that by the time we finish this doggone thing, this recording and this session and this particular her story, and by the time folks hit the replay, somebody gonna be like, where she live? Where she live at? Where, and can I get her at Mal College? Now, does it matter? Does it have to be at your college, or can it be at another one?
No. Again, I'm fully ready to be wherever I need to be.
Lord, we received that. All right. So Hope, you know what? Hope, do you want me to do Monique's bio, or are you going to do it?
Is it the one that we were sharing on Facebook already?
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
So Monique, but let me tell you, but first of all, you know, I just noticing that piece, if you like to say, as my friend Terrence said, that piece around your neck. I love the entire outfit actually, but I can see, but the piece around the neck is calling me. It's calling me. It's like, look at that. It's beautiful. Is that where'd you get that? Do you remember? You know,
I know, and I feel bad, but I got it at a vendor at another women's conference, and so yeah. But I do like Sassy Jones. Now, Sassy Jones is my go-to girl. Okay.
Okay. Y'all heard it here. All right. Hope. I digress. Back to you.
So again, I'm going to introduce again Monique Smith. She is a leadership strategist that guides athletics departments, sports organizations, and individuals who wish to advance in athletics administration, sports business, or the marketplace. She is an adjunct faculty at Hampton University teaching sports management courses. She is also most known for her 8 seasons as the host of an internationally recognized weekly podcast, A Chat in the Garden with Monique A.J. Smith, which spotlights women of color in athletic sports. And she's had 2.2 thousand followers. A higher education veteran of over 30 years, she has launched her consulting business, Seeds of Empowerment, full-time in March of 2013. Monique has been conducting workshops for youth, women, and educational corporate organizations, as well as senior citizens since 2005. The BOSS Network was listed Seeds of Empowerment as one of the 50th businesses to watch. Wow, that is amazing stuff going on there. And I love the fact that you are, helping to promote athletics, and particularly women, because I always feel that women athletes are undervalued. Because I truly believe that women are truly an athlete and a student athlete, because I feel that they have to work extra hard in school and whatever sport they're playing. So thank you for doing that. So I want
to clarify though. I promote women leaders of athletic administration. I don't, because not the athlete. I'm talking about the athletic director, the assistant athletic director, the development person, the marketing person, sports information person, women in those positions in athletics.
Okay, thank you for the clarification there. So now I want to get into your 5-word story. So if you could tell us your 5-word story and then just kind of break it out with that, what that is to you.
Is it 5 or 6 words? Because Stephanie told me it was 6.
It's usually 5, but I think Miss Stephanie done added an extra word. So if you got 5 or if you got 6, we'll take it.
Okay, my 6 words are Black women, athletic administration, sports, empowerment.
And if you can just kind of explain just what each word kind of means, or just kind of give us overall your thoughts on that so that we can understand it a little better.
Okay, well, Black women, I am a Black woman, and I attended HBCU. However, by being 30 years into the business, it's been a minority in a lot of spaces very early on in life. So I graduated from Hampton University in 1990 with a degree in mass media. And so my first job was sports information director. So that is the department that promotes the athletes, as you say, and the program all together. But back then it was really more about statistics. We didn't have websites and things like that. All we were trying to do was get some statistics to write the story to promote. My first job was at St. Paul's College University. St. Paul's College, period. So administration, it is because that's the profession, director. But then at 28, I became athletic director at St. Paul's College. By default, I went through 5 different athletic directors. But uniquely, my first boss was a first Black woman athletic director for the CIAA. So we have her as the first athletic director and me as the first female full-time sports information director in 1990 in the CIAA. So role models, I was looking at her every day, but other than that, they weren't there. So, and then I added sports in there because now that I have started in 8 seasons, I've been interviewing and just talk about the career path to twofold. Number one, to introduce to others, other women leaders that they don't see. All right, so then they know what they can aspire to be. Sports management is a very fast-paced now and competitive field. Okay, and I've been teaching for at least 6 years, and there are more males in my class. So I got to prepare them for what they're about to face. And so, but I'm expanding it because many people now can go from athletic administration, from the college side to the pro side, from the pro side to the college side. So I'm just trying to widen their view with that. And that's why now I add sports. The empowerment piece, my company is Seeds of Empowerment. I plant seeds of empowerment to lead others to greatness. And so my clients will say always, you gave me a new way of looking at that. I never thought of it like that. Because most of the things I do first is head work and then skill work. Because that's when you are first, there's a lot of pressures that you're not going to be familiar with. And that's where I think my superpower is by being a first so early in life. I was 22 years old. I'm now 54. I got enough experiences that hopefully I can help guide someone in any place. But the first thing, all of them, is your self-talk. You know, how are you prepared for the naysayers and the no's? Because advancement has a lot to do with how you deal with disappointment, how you deal with the no's. Are you creative enough to take that no and think, well, not yet? You know, let me come back. And it has a lot. That's why I say I do a lot of head work first, because believe me, I got a lot of no's very early on. And but it was my creativity and my attitude that allowed me, and somebody said, oh no, we give her a chance, we give her a pass. And you got to have some fortitude in this thing, because it's not easy. It's not easy. But again, if it comes to like promotions and slogans come to me very easily. So you know that's something you can do with your eyes closed. I can teach that, and that you can know what your superpowers are. So it's twofold. I began a magazine called Significance in Athletics and Sports, so I could teach the women that are in my fold that you have got specialized knowledge that you can monetize.
Well, wait a minute, because I want you to hold that, because that's a good segue into, because I keep looking behind you. What is that behind?
That's right.
All right, so wait a minute. What is that? So if I was in the elevator with you,
yes,
And now, and I said, what is it that you do? If you had your shirt, your t-shirt on that had a slogan or your name of your company on the front of it, and I said, what does that mean? What would you tell me?
I would tell you, I'm a leadership strategist that help women go to their next in athletic administration and sports.
I love that. I love that. And now you, as the adjunct professor, what do you teach? Tell me, like, so you said you have mostly men in your classes, which is quite interesting, right? They're not even ready when they bust in and see you to begin with, because it's a male-dominated field.
Sports management courses. So right now I'm teaching collegiate athletic administration. I teach race and sports, race and gender sports. Next semester I will teach psychosociology of sport and sports PR.
Wow, that's all good, and all major, and that doggone speech sports PR. I'm gonna need you to teach that like 3 times in a row and make the same students come back and get it 3 more times. Because I mean, honestly, that's a lot. That's a whole talk show. But now I want. Did you write a book also? Are you in a book?
Yes, I did.
Let's talk about this book. So can you please put this book up so we can see it, please, ma'am?
Yes.
And tell us what the name of this book is and about this book. I want you to tell me about this book.
Okay, well, the book is called Removing the Face. I'm a contributor to the book. My chapter is Public Figure Mask, Exit Stage Left.
Come on.
So I mentioned the fact, and it's my athletic administrative journey. So it talks about being a woman in the field very early on and the pressure that hit. And, but you don't know it, because when you are a type A person, you just keep moving. You keep moving.
You better preach it.
Oh yeah, and I didn't know that I was being affected because I just kept moving. And then I became athletic director, and that happened by default. Like I said, the president tracked me down. I was working at the Olympics, matter of fact, in Atlanta, '96, and he calls me, tracks me down in the press room, and says, you know, so-and-so is leaving. I need you to be athletic director. I'm gonna make you an interim so that you can be protected. I said, okay, all right. And I knew where he was going with that, right? And my whole point was, okay, if you say that I'm young and you want to protect, but if you want to say I'm a female, that's not going to change. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get older, but I'm not going to change for being a female. So here I'm 28, and I'm like, and honestly, I was about to leave the institution anyway. And I said, let me think about it. Well, that night, the bomb went off at Atlanta, at the Olympics. And my mind said, life is short. I'm going to go ahead and take this job. A man would have gone ahead and taken the job and learned on the job. But I'm going to take it. I've already been here, done things already. I'm going to do it. So that's what I did. And, but I was going through a divorce, separation, and being my first time AD. I think it was one other woman who was athletic director at the same time. And, you know, we were very successful, I have to tell you. But peace of mind is something you can't put a price to. So I left the job after 2 years. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little bitter. I felt like something was taken from me. So I went to University of Maryland Eastern Shore as assistant AD. And I call it my wilderness experience because I was learning how the things I hadn't learned on my own before. Okay. So the commissioner for the CIAA says, come on back home. So here's the point. My boss dies after 1 year. I had never anybody close to me to die. My grandmama died at 100-some years old. So I was like, I didn't know it was affecting me. I went through divorce. First time, you know, AD, young, 28 years old. And I come to the conference office. I am so appreciative of this boss giving me this shot. I don't speak up for myself. So I literally hit a wall, figuratively and literally. I hit the 64 across all 4 lanes, and the car turned and facing. And when And when I was more afraid to face my boss that I wrecked the company vehicle, I said, something ain't right. I'm more concerned about that than my life. So I started going to therapy. And she just basically said, you know, I mean, she did the typical piece, but one thing she said, you need to be around other women who are like you. And I said, there aren't any, because I was the one I was the SWA at the conference. You know, there was no one to, even the NCA just named a senior women's administrator for the conference. So there was no role model, you know, because when you know everything you do and everybody's watching, it affects everybody else following you, you don't have a cushion. So what I did, I started creating the people under me and start having retreats and helping them elevate. But it was really for myself, to give myself a sense of community.
Wait a minute. What you did is kind of like the equivalent of, you know, for many of us speakers, right? There was no, we created our own platforms. People started creating their own. This is a platform, right? It's a platform. Right. We create our own. Don't worry about somebody giving you an opportunity. Create your own. And also set yourself up for success. And that is exactly what you did. Now, I wanted to ask you, did you play sports?
No.
Girl, you better go ahead on. Listen, I'm so glad to hear somebody else didn't play sports other than myself. And I get it all the time. You saw how tall I am. So I get, right. So you play basketball? And I was like, no. They was like, well, did you model? I'm like, well, what if I said no to that? I mean, yeah, I dabbled, but I would have liked to play basketball. I didn't play because, well, I didn't play for a lot of things back when I was growing up, but as my kids say, back in the Stone Ages, but they didn't have all these inhalers and all this other stuff. So I had asthma and I grew out of it later. But back then, I mean, I loved to run. I would run and then beat everybody and then go into a full-fledged asthma attack. Hospital, shots in the arm. I guess, mother looked like, my God, this is it. This is the last day. So they, what they did for me was have a seat, little girl, sit right on over there, but that has, since then, everybody got an inhaler, keeping it moving. So, but I wanted to ask you, for someone that is thinking about going in this field, whether they're in high school, whether they're in college, or whether, they're in middle school for that matter, where should their mind be? What should they be doing right now to prepare themselves, if anything?
Volunteering for any and every sporting event. I just had a young lady who met me at the conference. I just met her. And I said, I'm running the official table for a basketball tournament in November for 12 courts. You can come and help me. And she came and helped me. And she helped me create the payroll to give to the organizers to pay the people after we finish. They walk out the door, they got their checks. So that helped me watch her, how she handled that. And I can speak to her and how she did. So you want somebody to be able to speak to your work ethic. So you got to be able to do that. And today's folks talking about getting paid. And I'm like, you can say that, but my job as a coach, executive coach, is number one, to make you employable. And so that means you're going to have to invest in that yourself, not the other way around. So invest your time, your money, to get places where people can speak to what you have done.
That's a great point. And because we all have to, it was said to me, not said, but I learned it myself. And one of the things is, and I hear it, oh my God, I feel like I hear it at least once a day. Somebody says it. I heard Dr. Sherwood say it. I heard Dr. Tony Robbins say it. I heard Les Brown say it. I heard just the list goes on and on and on. In different things I've heard, their different speeches, and they all talked about the fact that they're new folks, whether if you got less than 10, 20 years, you're still new, right? New people in a field, and they want to come in to the field and be on the top. They want $1 million. I want $1 million. I want to be paid $40,000 to speak, or even $4,000 to speak. And I have not spoken on a professional stage yet, type of deal. And so it was like, you have got to speak. And I promise you, Speakers, if you are aspiring speakers, just like Monique said, volunteer. Many of us, I know I have spoken on, I have lost count of the amount of places that I have spoken for. I did not get paid to speak. You're not speaking for free. You're speaking at no cost. But there's nothing's free, because there's always there's something that you get paid. You get paid in visibility. You get paid in networking. You get paid in increasing your clientele. Because until you have some receipts, until people see that you can do what you say you can do, you can talk all day long about your product. No one's buying, because they haven't seen you do what you say you're going to do. They know I can pull several people out and tell you how I coach them. Several people tell you how I've taught them how to speak. Several people that I've spoken on their stage. And what you just said, now you want to have a job in sports administration. You know, they're going to ask you, what experience do you have?
That's right.
And you need a referral. And 90% of the people, whether they're doing business with you, whether as a client or however, well, actually as a client, however they're going to do business with you, they're going to look for those receipts, and they want to, somebody who themselves has some, and you have bona fide receipts. So if you say the person is good, you've experienced the person, that is major credibility. So you were 20, you were experiencing your divorce. How old were you?
Oh, I found that my divorce was final. Well, I separated at 29.
At 20. So, look, you're young, you're in your 20s. You had a job that most people don't listen. One, no woman, and darn sure no woman of color. And most people they may not have elevated to that type of a position. So they're in their 40s, 30s, 40s, look, right? 30s on the low end, in a male-dominated field, and you're going through divorce. And where are you from? Were you living there? Where were you living at that time?
I was in Lawrenceville, Virginia.
You were living. So wait a minute. Are you from Virginia?
I'm from Virginia, but not Lawrenceville, Virginia. I'm from Sussex County. I'm from Waverly, Virginia. But that's a one stoplight town. I'm from a one stoplight town. And then when I went to Maryland Eastern Shore in Princess Anne, Maryland, that was a one stoplight town. So I was used to being in the country. But here's the thing, you can be in the country, but the people there, especially if you got a university, you're expecting to have some type of higher thought process. But that was an eye-opening situation for me.
That is. How did you prepare? And even now, as you elevate and move from position or different, and even as an entrepreneur, how did you prepare yourself for your next? Like, okay, versus what you did then, versus what you do. Look, how you tried to do it then versus how you would do it now.
Well, I will say, so working for the CIAA was a blessing, because I had been contracted with them even when I worked at St. Paul's. So it was people who knew my value and my worth. And when I went there, he said, because I told him, I said, because I interned with the CIAA when I was in college. And I said, I can't come back to do the same thing I did as an intern. And he said, you just come in here and you train the people to do what you don't want to do. You can come do what you do want to do. So that was a blessing, to go with someplace already valued me, and that really helped. But I was really appreciative and did not speak my own truth. So that's one thing I do now. I definitely speak my own truth, and I set my boundaries and say what I can and cannot do. I didn't do that because I was so appreciative of somebody getting me out of something, okay? And then I would say, I don't live in, I'm sharing to you about the past, but I try to move forward, because when I work with my clients, many of they're trying to go to the next. And I say, we got to get over the bitter and get better, because you can't go to your next with that mindset. It's going to mess you up. And so I try to enjoy where I am versus thinking about what was done to me as far as being done for me.
Oh, that's huge. I just heard, And I was trying to think of it. As a matter of fact, it was a wonderful quote. And I want to say it was Jim Rohn. And he was talking about, in order for any of us to move forward, we have to look at our past as it's like almost a stepping stone. Your past is a present almost. It was a gift to you to prepare you for your now. And so, but not so much like, don't get so wrapped up in it that you say, because, and think about it. There's I have some folks that literally I have to give them limited time in my space, because the conversation is the same, the conversation over and over again. And that conversation starts with, always talking about triggers. I'm triggered at this, I'm triggered at that. I'm thinking about this time. I'm back, their comfort, they don't realize it, but their comfortable place is the things that happened in their past. And they haven't gotten to the place yet of it happened for me. They're still in the place of it happened to me. But that is, and ladies and gentlemen, this is an important point I'm getting ready to make here. All of us in the world can benefit from not only having a coach, but we have got to have a therapist.
Oh, amen.
Because they're two different things. Okay. I'm going to tell you that sometimes we think we just, and your therapist, I'm so sorry to my people. Your pastor is not the therapist. Unless that joker's got a degree and that's what they do for a living, that's a different type of counseling. That's counseling. There's counseling and then there's therapy. That therapist, their job is to listen and help guide. They're gonna listen and let you get all that stuff out.
Don't give you tools.
Right.
And
right, based on what you tell them, right? And they're gonna tell you they're gonna pick up things that you don't even know that you're talking about, that the rhythm of and the topics that you keep talking about, they're gonna bring it to them. They got no cut card. When I say they're gonna tell you the real deal, do you realize that you talk about this particular topic more than another? And what have you tried, and what has it went, and how's it look, and how's it work for you? And then boom, they're going right into it. I want you to do this. I want you to try this. But they're going to they have to get into the headspace. And I'm going to tell you that no matter what, and you talked about it, Monique, that you start with all your clients, and whether it be in your professional field or your entrepreneurial field, you got to start with the mindset.
That's right.
Your students, how do you even,
yeah.
Where do you
catch
start?
Them all the time. Yeah, I catch them all the time. I tell them, you're marketing yourself to me in class every day. So I've got two things I want to say. So in the book, that's what I talk about the therapist, because we talk about student athlete and mental health, and athletic administrators need to be able, because the high achiever is different. The depression looks different. It's like the person who stays at work all day and all night because they don't want to go home. You know what I'm saying? It's the one who wants to take on every opportunity because they don't want to feel. Okay. And so because I know that and I can see it, I'm able to say, look. And so now, like, if you don't want to look, I say, I want you to read my chapter. If that sounds like something, that hits you, when you are first and people coming at you all the time and like, oh, she don't know what she's doing. Da, 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 da. And if you find yourself cutting people off and don't have the temperament, and you keep losing your keys every time you get ready to go home, you need to have a therapist. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's going to help you be a better leader, and so that's why I said removing the public figure mask so that you can see, oh, this is great what she's doing. But in order for me, because after I did therapy, my career even soared even more. I got better and more opportunities and more promotions. So this was early in my commissioner position. And so, and again, community is one of the strategies to help combat mental illness, or I would just say to keep you mentally healthy, And so our retreats wasn't necessarily about, it was about, okay, what's the best way to fold a towel? There isn't. Stop stressing about being perfect there. When you're an AD and you making 6 figures, going on 7, why are we feeling bad that somebody else got to pick your child up? Or why are we feeling bad at your house? Hire somebody. You have enough money to hire somebody. But see, you're concerned about what everybody at home said. Oh, you think you better. No, I have more responsibilities. In order to keep my mind clear for my responsibilities and my paycheck, I have to hire someone to pick my child up. I have to hire somebody to clean my house.
You better say it. You better say, listen, you over here in my house. I get it all the time. But look, have you ever gotten this one? Oh, you always busy. You always busy. And see, let me explain something. There's busy and then there's busy. See, then there's busy people just doing busy stuff, and then there's people being effective and efficient. You follow what I'm saying? Because I know how to be real. I know how being busy just doing busy work too. I got that down to a science. I can do that real well also. But I also realized that there is, somebody once told me, do not ever lend money to someone who is not willing to work as hard as you to get them some.
Oh yeah.
So, and you know how back in the day when if somebody, when if your grandma and them, you say, well, let me get such and such or whatever, what's the money? And they got to ask you a bunch of questions, and starting with, what have you done so far to get, how much do you have?
Nobody
what have you done? What have you done? Right, good look, what have you done so far? What have you done? Right, all these 3,099 questions. And you thought that was like the most. But when once you get older and more mature, you realize there's some people, if you ask them all them questions, they'll be like, never mind. Never mind. They go on to somebody else because they got, for a couple of reasons. One, they have not with anybody else. The most work they've done is called everybody. And look, I understand. Listen, don't think my name is Stephanie and I've done it. You know what I'm saying? But look, I'm telling you that as a leader and and God, leadership is my thing, is my gig too, right? I know that, as I retired, before I retired, I was a commander of the local police department. And one of the things as a manager, as a trainer, is that when here come the sergeants coming to me about their people, blah, 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 and they ain't doing, I'm just sitting there, I'm listening. Got it. And once they get finished telling me all about what their people ain't doing, I got one question. So what have you done thus far to help them? Mm-hmm. So what have you done? Because see, people don't look. Most people don't fail. It's actually they've been failed by their supervisors. What have you done? So before you came in here talking to me, what have you done? So what have you done what did you do to set them up for success? And from the beginning, is this a policy failure or is it a people failure? I want to know, is this something we need to change on our end? Or is it something, a procedure? So at the core of things, because sometimes, there's an expectation, and the supervisor or whomever came in, they've never told people what they expected of them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And more importantly, there's an assumption that we assume that everybody can do everything. Let's not make this. So ain't it wrong with saying, you know what? Before I know I asked you to do this and so, and this is on me. I didn't even ask you. Was that something you were familiar with? Because there's an assumption.
Well, this is what I do with my clients who are athletic directors. I talk to them about their staff meetings. And I just had one Monday night. And I said, you set expectations. People eliminate themselves when you set expectations. I said, now you can take a little chart here and say, is a person a naysayer or are they forward thinking? So if the person continues to be, is it something to take us forward or is it something that's personal? And you go ahead and rate that. And that's for you to be able to see. So, because I'm bringing two things together. So one of the things is a tool, I say for women in leadership is the 4 agreements, okay? And the 4 agreements is a book, but also create an assessment. So the 4 agreements are don't take it personal, don't make assumptions, always do your best, and be impeccable with your word. So if the situation is you being a leader and somebody is always going against what you're saying, so you can check to see, is it personal to you? Make your own little rate sheet, okay, this person, this is about, they don't want to deal with fear and they don't want to change. That's a plus for them. But then if you're trying to move the organization, that's a plus. Then you know that, okay, then that is not a personal thing. They're just speaking about it. So you got to have some tools, some leadership tools to be able to help you be a better leader. You follow me? So as it relates to the money, listen, the bank, my nickname is Tony. The bank of Tony is closed. You know, my money's already tied up. And I have never ever, in 54 years of living, I learned that if you want to stay friends, if I give you money, that means I don't want it back. Period.
Loaning, listen, you might make a donation, but you ain't doing no loaning. Yeah,
No.
but they told you, well, you know what? One of my friends told me the quickest way to end a friendship, and that's exactly what he said. And the same person that told me don't ever, and he was like, and look, and don't go into business with family.
Look, my daddy made me sign a promissory note. Okay.
Look, so listen, one of a dear friend and a boss, he told us the other day about his daughter is in college, and you know, while she's in college, you know, you give them, you putting some money, but he said he got her on a whole budget, and he needs reports and everything. He was like, oh no. He checked every now and then. He do a little check at the account. It was like, okay, so now, what you spending money on? Mm-hmm. You know, and there needs to be some. There has to be a breakdown. He wants a breakdown of where them funds is going. And I said, see that right there. And wait, man, and there'll be interest on this doggone money if you mess around with this money. But here's the deal: he treating it like a bank.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I would suggest to that person. And this is what I also teach about it. Is this, because see, that's going to trigger something he might not want. Because when she has it all herself, she may just spend, I ain't got to tell nobody. But what would be nice is that if you can keep a certain amount of money in here, I will match it. If this amount of money is still in here in 12 months, then I'll match it.
That's a good one. I'm going to share that with her. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. So make her be a little bit more thrifty, because somebody going to match something. Right. Baby, I found a way and make one. That's a good one. I like that.
Because you haven't had girlfriends that if they go shopping, they wait till their husbands are asleep and bring the stuff in.
Yes.
So that's the kind of mindset she gonna have with that tit for tat. She gonna figure out how to circumvent that. So, but if you figure out that, hey, this is gonna be fun. If I can keep it there, I'm gonna be rewarded versus being punished about my spending habits. Mm-hmm. It's all a mindset.
It really is. And that's a good one. I like that. I'm gonna write that one down. Yeah. And you know, so I want to ask you this. So we already know, you said that they want to think about that career, your career, to volunteer. Mm-hmm. If somebody's thinking about doing what you do as an entrepreneur, what are some of tell me about something that you did you would do differently now, with hindsight being 2020, on how you launched or how you started, or something about your business?
Glad you said that, because that's why I started the magazine, Significance. Okay.
You better go ahead with Significance. Tell us about this magazine.
Well, and it's supposed to help the women to see that. See, luckily, I had already been doing consulting since 2005. So my name was already out there. But the day of just doing your work, having your head down, over, you're not going to stay at a job and get a watch. It's just not going to happen anymore. So, I mean, I was loyal to a fault. I mean, you know, so I got my pink slip in 2013 when they changed leaderships. But I was okay because the NCAA picked me up and said, when we do leadership workshops. So here's my point. They already knew I was doing that, and they picked me up. I'm trying to get the other women to be able to put their specialized knowledge in a format that people can be able to say, oh, this person's a consultant, so that it will be it's not pink slip proof, okay?
Come on, man.
But it's supposed to be something to help you be a bridge enough for you to get to where you want. meaning you stay over here as a consultant, okay, or you can go ahead and go back because you're an expert marketing yourself. So matter of fact, a former student who was a client, she's in the, I told her today, I mean, I said, you guys scratch all that. I said, that doesn't help you set you up to be a consultant. You need to be able to tell people step by step. And what she is, I'm real proud of her. She's on the female on the football selection committee for Division II. Black woman, football, okay? I said, now you've already done softball, you already done volleyball, and now you're on football. Do you have expertise? Tell people how to fit their schedule in order to be able to go postseason play. So then if an AD beginning of the year, once somebody look at the schedule, they know who to send it to say, this is gonna be good enough. That's how you set yourself apart. And so that's what because I'm an SID at heart, I can do that and promote a person. But you got to be able to, what's the 5 steps to make sure your schedule is what regional ready?
Wait a minute, you know, you said SID, you know, you got them acronyms, you got to break it down.
Sports Information Director. It's the PR person for athletics. That's me. And then I became the PR director for the CI, the public relations director for the conference office. And I became director of championships, then director of governance, then chief of staff. So all the different areas of that, but my mind automatically goes back, how can we promote this? So the contributors, and they pay to be in the magazine. So it's like an anthology format, but it is a magazine where you can show pictures, yes, and be able to, I mean, it's very similar, twofold. I'm able to show them how to promote themselves. Also, sports management people may say, oh, I can be this. It's like, remember back in the day, you go look in Jet in the back, to see all the Black people gonna be on TV. Well, let me tell you, they're all right here. Because it's the same way. In athletic magazines, we're looking for the Black women, and we only see one, and we're all excited about that one. There's millions of us out here.
When you, how often does your publication come out?
March and August.
Yes, that was smart. That was smart. And because you were in that field, you are already the expert. So anything that you put out and has your name on it, other folks are looking at it to see what's on it. That's huge. So how does one get to be in your magazine? How does they?
Well, I tell you what, I like to communicate on LinkedIn, and it's Monique A.J. Smith.
And I want, Hope, are you capturing all that? And but we're going to also put that in on when we put the video, the replay and all that, we'll put all that in there again for those of you that are watching, because I know it's somebody's that are watching right now saying,
you can get the magazine off of Amazon right now. Yeah.
That was my next question. How can you get the magazine for those people that are looking for these women? And how can I get in there with more information? So how can they also, to get more information, they go to the same site to get the magazine, or is that something different? How can they reach you?
Okay, how do they reach me? Oh, my email address is Monique A.J. Smith at seedsofempowerment.info.
Now, do you have a website?
Yes, I do. But I'm going to
Can you type it in the chat also? That way we can snag it. When you at some point,
I'm just going to send you to my store. That's what I'm going to do.
There you go. So you now you also have you still have your a chat in the garden?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me about the chat in the garden. What's the chat in the garden, and how can one be a part in the chat in the garden?
Well, you have to be a Black woman in athletic administration to be on the podcast. And so I'm booked up until August.
August of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And look at that. Yes, ma'am.
But yeah, I interview African-American female athletic administrators in athletics and sports. And today it comes out every Wednesday and it's live. It was a replay. But the person is now athletic director at Point University in Georgia. Week before that, I've been mixing up with older, well, seasoned athletic administrators and younger ones, because the young folks want to be able to see that they can do it. You know what I'm
And
saying?
is there, so now how many, like, I mean, you it's like, is it that many women of color now?
8 seasons, 52 weeks. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful thing. The young lady that I had on last week, she's from Richmond. She went to Bowie State. 10 years ago, she was an intern with me at the CIAA. Now she is Associate Athletic Director, Senior Women's Administrator for Savannah State University.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
do
she
you
had
have
many.
interns? You have interns now? Are you seeking or looking for interns?
Well, I actually use my sports information students to be my interns. So I do have an intern. She is a freshman on the track team at Hampton University. I did have a different intern last year. She's a graduating sports management major, volleyball for Hampton University.
I love it. I love it. I'm loving every bit of this. Hope, I know you have a question, so I'm gonna go ahead. I know you like, where has she been all of my life? Right. So Hope, I'm going to, because this is a great opportunity for my co-host. I'm going to kick it over to her because I know she got questions. I see it right now. I can see her thinking from over here. Hope, what you got?
Goodness. Stephanie, you're funny. You know, I like to take my notes because I'm the type of person I can always go back and refer to my notes later. But I think it's great what you're doing. Again, with the athletics and the leadership. And I did have a question. I just lost it though. And I think Stephanie kind of answered before in regards to how do you help someone else get into the industry. But tell me about a time or whatever, maybe that you weren't as successful and how you recovered from that period, because I think that's things that people need to hear, you know, being where you are now, when you weren't as successful or you may have made a misstep. How did you recover from that?
Well, I'm going to talk about from an entrepreneurship perspective. So I started having retreats, and now I have a membership that we meet every third Wednesday. It's called Advance Academy, because we're advancing, like, football, first down, that kind of thing. And it's twofold, because, networking is the key. And then I do some training. So that came about because of the fact I would have my retreats, but retreats should be at my timeshare. And so I bought a timeshare with my business money. Yeah, that was like, and because I told you before on the CIAA, we had retreats, and that's how I saw the women grow. So I wanted to duplicate that. Well, I learned that I have got to, I can't say select the people, but I need to make sure it's the people who already value what I have to give. So I had one young lady who knew me, and then she wanted to invite her friends to the retreat. And they were not too happy about the retreat. Because again, it's in my timeshare. So it means you got to share a room. You know what I mean? Well, I thought it was okay because I already know each other. And my method is interactive. But they weren't happy. They didn't ask for their money back, but they weren't happy. Now, I could have stayed down and blew behind that. Okay? But it was feedback, which is information to help you be better. See, that's the key. Most of the time, in my younger days, if I got feedback, that criticism, you know how you hear something and then all of a sudden you hear trains in your head and you feel like you're about to pass out and then your stomach drop. You know what I mean? They're attacking me. How dare you? I couldn't see straight. And it was a little different. This is my product. And I'm feeling a little different. I'm going like, I hate to say this, love it or leave it. You know what I mean? Okay, thank you for the feedback. we won't be inviting anyone from your area again. It's going to be people who are already want where to have value and want to come here. And again, that was 2015. And so when I do the timeshare, I have people come the first part of the week, people to come the last part of the week. So these people came the last part of the week. I already got good feedback from the first part of the week. So, you take things from entrepreneurs, you take feedback as an entrepreneur as feedback to go and do better. When you're an employee, your feedback is the same, but somehow now you don't know how to take it as, okay, so if I've done this, tell me what I need to do to make this be better. And then when you've done that, you present it, I've done this. So I've tried to take feedback a little bit differently. And I think the 4 agreements, did I do my best? Did I take it personally? If whoever who did that, whatever it was not right, would they gotten the same response from you? If not, then I know it's taking it personal and I need to remove myself. The other one, don't make assumptions. Did I ask the right questions? All right. And be impeccable with your word. Again, is my self-talk honorable to me? And did I do what I said I was going to do? And it's another thing I keep trying to tell people: stay away from the water cooler, because what's going to be repeated is not going to be what you said, what they said. It's only going to be what you said.
Not the water cooler. Let me tell you something. That was a nugget right there by itself, right? But let me tell you a key point that you made. As a matter of fact, I was thinking when Hope was asking the question, I was saying to myself, what would be my answer? And let me tell you that as an entrepreneur, when you said as an entrepreneur, I thought I too created like the first like membership or the first program where it was like a group. And I had to learn, and someone had to tell me also, Steph, you have got to be very selective of who is in the group. You first, from one, if you're in a mastermind, that means that the people in that group, if you have people that are coming there expecting a certain caliber of feedback or whatever they expect, and then you got people in the group, so you got people, they way down here, but the people that's down here don't want to come up here. They want to stay here. They don't want to grow here. So they can't even receive, right, the information to even bring this up. And the people that's up here, they don't care where it comes from. No, give me the information. Right, what you got? But these folks not feeling comfortable about themselves enough to even provide feedback, right? So that's a problem, right? So it's unbalanced and everybody's not appreciating being there. So, folks don't have their head, they show up, they don't take you serious. It's just like I learned, and I told Hope and I, we talked about this a lot, and when you give something away for free, people also oftentimes they don't respect it. But you put a dollar sign of cost on it, all of a sudden it becomes a product to be respected. Mm-hmm. You can give them the same exact product, they'll take it for granted for free. But you put a dollar sign on that thing and people are in it to win it. So that would be my hope right there, is that I have learned, and I took School of Hard Knocks. I actually started a program and I shut the whole program down, because I saw that, one, it wasn't a product that I felt good about. I didn't feel like I was providing the services that I said I was going to provide. I didn't feel like the group that was formed in it, I didn't feel like that was the right group. And you will find that time is valuable and don't waste it. I don't have time. You don't have time. And so, and what's going to happen? The people that are there to just be sappers, right? They sap the energy out of you, they will fall off. And they will end up being around the water cooler talking about you and everybody else. The people that are zappers, they're going to stay with you. They're going to be like, listen, they're going to be bringing you energy and you are giving them energy. They're going to stay attached to the power source. The rest of the folks, and you got to get rid of them. So you wrap that thing up real nice. So you heard it first here. We are going to put that information for Monique in the chat, because I know that many of you are going to have quite a few questions. You got questions about the book. So from the store, they can buy the book at the store, correct?
Yeah.
You can get her book. You can find out about the magazine. You can find out how you can get a coaching, how you can join one of her coaching program, her membership program, all of that at the store. We talk about networking. If you're not showing up, if you're not going up, if you're not visible, it doesn't matter what in the world, what product you have. If you're not collaborating, if you're not building into and supporting somebody else, and particularly if you yourself are seeking to grow your own business, if you're not supporting other people, and if you're not getting what you need, then you will not grow. Plain and simple.
Just for those who may not look at the chat, it's payhip.com/seeds of empowerment.
Say it again.
Payhip.com/seeds of empowerment is the store.
Y'all, you heard it here. I know, and listen to me, you know, what's the name of the game here? This platform is made for many reasons. One, we all have a voice. Her story, our story, 1 hour of power. 1 hour. Although it was all about females at once, now we got the men folk coming in. We got one coming in next week. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you know who Stormy Wellington is, but baby, Keith has one heck of a story. I've known him for some time. And just the fact that he started his own thing and he believed in himself and just kept putting himself in the right rooms. And now he the COO of her company. So I'm going to tell you, to connect yourself to these folks. And as always, the light, you gotta shine your light. I believe in the Holy Trinity. So I believe that my light, the I shine, my energy is God's blessing to the world. I believe it's the Holy Spirit. And I believe that if I'm not operating in it, and I'm reminded at least once or 10 times a day by somebody that, what they love about me is what my energy, who I am. I bring all that to the table and I don't leave any of it out. I want you to do the same. Shine your light, shine it so bright. And as Lisa Nichols says, if your light is too bright for other people, because sometimes our light for some people is so bright, it shines on other people what they believe is their shortcomings and they don't like it. So they don't want you to shine your light, but I want you to shine it bright. And if it's too bright for you, put on your sunglasses. If it's too bright for others, as Lisa Nichols said, ask them to put on theirs. And you keep it moving because the world needs your gift. The world needs my gifts because we are uniquely and wonderfully made, but it doesn't matter how awesome we are if we don't use our gifts. So back here, Her Story, Our Story, 1 hour of power, every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I ask you to join us, but more importantly, shine your light. Thank you again, Monique Smith. Girl, I can't wait to learn more. I'll be staying in touch. For those of you, again, look in the chat and listen to the replay to stay in contact with Monique because she is everything that she says she is. It's been a blessing. Thank you, Ho. See y'all next week. Until next time. Bye-bye.